Good morning, my beautiful humans, my beautiful magicians. Welcome to this is supposed to be our Wednesday morning chat, but today is Thursday, and thank you for letting me just have a complete chaos of my plans yesterday, so I had to change it to today. But today we're going to talk explainable magic. So the reason I made that title for this particular section, this these lives um, is because as an energetics practitioner, as a make your own magic coach, everything that I do is based on science. It's based on a tangible, actionable, quantifiable thing. And I still have family members and friends come to me and say, I know what you do isn't really a thing, but can you give me some tips or tricks for this particular situation? Cool. I'm so glad that you put it down like that and said it's not a thing, because make your own magic is, or make your own magic coaching, well, I'm all over the place this morning, is an actual thing. It is based in science. What I do is based in science. And there's kind of like a base foundation of making magic, at least in the way I do it. So today we're going to talk about energetics, because energetics is basically going to be your foundation of making magic. So what even is energetics? What is energy? I've heard that all things have energy. Please explain. I don't get how that works. We'll break it down into the very basics. And so you can, moving forward, as we do meditations and we play with more of the science, this is going to be your go-to. This is going to be your come back to. This is going to be your base of information for making magic. So basically, it all boils down to chemistry. Magic and energetics breaks down to the chemistry that we learned in high school. So chemistry 101, when you have it really comes down to atoms and molecules. When you have an atom that connects with another atom to create a molecule, there is energy that is stored or released when you create and break apart atomic bonds, chemical bonds. So basically, that's what all of the solid things on this planet are, right? They're just atoms that are then put together as molecules, and then the molecules are put together as substances, and then those substances basically form these solid, basically anything that's an atom, these solid items. So think about the human body. Chemistry in the human body, that's just all we are. We're just molecules and atoms connecting and disconnecting and reconnecting to other atoms and molecules, etc. And thus, as these chemical bonds are breaking apart and then forming, our systemic energy is constantly changing. There's a constant flow. So each individual, based on your unique chemistry, each individual has their own unique vibration. So consider what we measure energy in. We measure it in frequency, electromagnetic vibration. So remember in, I don't know, maybe physics 101 in high school, we're talking energy waves, right? It The properties of the wave differ based on how fast the energy is moving, how fast the molecules are moving. There are a whole bunch of different things that go into the wave, but that is how we measure the specific frequency of something. So now we know that every chemical bond and every time an atom comes together with another atom or molecules break apart, they create and then they use energy. And so there's a constant flow within our body. The really fun thing I think about, or one of the fun things I feel about the human body, is that think about the idea of an atom, and the energy around the atom or the molecule or whatever is It moves out and away from the atom, the molecule, whatever the system is that has the chemistry within it. So within our bodies, the energy doesn't just hang out right here. It's not just contained within our body. It actually is so expansive, the energy that comes from all of the molecules that are within the system, it's so expansive that at any given point, humans basically have a 3 meter or a 27-foot diameter range. We basically have this bubble around us. That is our energy. Our energy is moving out into the world, connecting with the energy of other people who also have this 27-foot range, bubble, space around them that is uniquely yours. Did you know that when you encounter another person, your energy is the first thing that that person feels? They don't see you first. And then that visual goes from your eyeballs to your brain, gets processed, you figure out what you're seeing, and then, oh, okay, that is Susan walking down the street. Hey, Susan, what's up? No, you literally feel their energy before your brain processes who you're seeing, before you can hear them. I really hope that you're not going around tasting people, but the idea is that basically your energy, your personal bubble is your first, we'll call it our sixth sense, because that's kind of what it's known as anyway. We'll call it our sense that really kind of plays with the universe around us. And it's the first response that we get when we walk out into the world. When, you know, the idea that when something is just kind of off, you feel it in the pit of your stomach, or I just had a feeling, it's because your bubble is sensing something that you haven't yet seen, you haven't yet heard, you haven't yet perceived in any other way, but that your electromagnetic frequency and the specific waves that are the basic foundation of that frequency are either resonating or else they're dissonant with the waves, the electromagnetic frequency that's coming off something else that you're coming in contact with. So again, that's just another term, resonate, dissonate. They're just two different terms. Resonate, again, think of that super fun wave. Resonance is when you've got something that's the exact opposite and it flows. It almost amplifies and it makes a sound or it makes a frequency measurement that is almost expansive. What am I thinking? Exponentially bigger and more, just it jives better. So it's the exact opposite of the wave that you're putting out. That's resonance. It just clicks. It's an exact, I can't even think of the word. It just jives perfectly with your personal electromagnetic frequency. Dissonance is when it's just off. It's either slightly off, it's completely off. And so our spidey senses, let's say, don't jive. They don't flow with somebody or something else's frequency. Cool. So that's what, when we talk about vibes, vibration, frequency, it's just all chemistry. It's all the energy, the potential and the kinetic energy that come from breaking apart and then forming chemical bonds. That happens within our bodies. That happens basically within everything that's solid. And then one other term to think of the idea of up leveling. So humans, we kind of have a set frequency. It's kind of a range. When we get sick, our frequency decreases. So we're at the lower end of our range. When we get really sick, we're probably out of our comfortable, healthy range and our frequency is really low because as processes occur in our body, when the inflammatory system or the inflammation system just basically comes to the forefront because we're sick and we're trying to fight something, those are actually lower energy compounds. And so they create lower energy connections and disconnections within the chemistry. And so we're on the very low end, maybe, of our healthy range. But we have kind of a base, like a set frequency. As we continue to do things that raise our frequency and that get us using our body and our personal chemistry more efficiently, then our frequency starts to increase. And so when we use the term up level, it's because we're basically taking our base level, our base range that we're used to functioning within. And as we do things like meditate and shift our perspective and tap into the idea of leading with love, say, and I'm going to talk about emotions in just a second, then we start to increase our frequency, and ultimately we eventually increase the base level of the frequency range that we're functioning in. People who function at way lower levels are going to resonate with items or emotions. And again, I'll talk about emotions in a second. Items, emotions, situations that are at their also low frequency range, their low vibration range. When we increase our vibration, our electromagnetic frequency, we basically kind of raise the bar. We create a new set foundation for ourselves. And that can always go up and down, but basically when we up level, we're increasing our set kind of foundation, our baseline electromagnetic frequency. So that's what happens with our bodies when it comes in contact with other solid things. But let's take it a step further. Solid things have chemistry, even rocks, TVs, anything that is made of matter has chemistry, so has an electromagnetic vibration frequency. What about thoughts? If you've ever seen the movie The Secret, they kind of talk about this a little bit, but they basically just kind of gloss over it by saying everything has energy, and thoughts are things. So thoughts have energy. But how, if it's not solid, does it have energy? Think about how you got to that thought. So think about a concept versus matter. First of all, actually, let's think about, let's think about, no, I got off track. Our body has to go through a whole bunch of chemical processes to think a thought within our brain. So the thought that comes out, or the concept that occurs to us within a thought, it came about by energy, by chemistry, because there had to have all these things stick together and then come apart in order to create the hormones that then help create the emotions, that et cetera, et cetera. So the result that comes from those processes has a vibration. So now think about the idea that thoughts, concepts, ideas have a very, very high frequency, an extremely high frequency. In order, and that's potential. That's just the potential for something to be, to happen. This is potential energy. It's very fast when it comes to ideas. As we start moving those ideas more into the here and now, into the solid, into matter, then the vibration slows down a whole lot. So a lot of times when we talk about vibration and calling things to us and matching things vibrationally, we are talking about kind of the thoughts that we put out there. And as we put out certain thoughts, It helps to increase our personal vibration because we are choosing to create a process within our body that then helps us embody a particular emotion, say, or a particular idea, a particular sense of confidence. Our vibration increases, and now we're at a higher vibration, so our vibration can resonate with things that have a slightly higher vibration because we had a thought, because we decided to tell our physical system, I want to feel this way. I want to think this. I want to put this type of energy out there. As you continue to kind of raise your bar, as you on a more consistent choose to increase your personal vibration through your thought processes, through neurologically, through meditation, where you actually slow down your brain waves and you start to kind of activate different processes within your body that are higher vibration, through exercise, through being outside. Did you know that outside actually has higher vibration based on the chemistry of the outside air versus the indoors air? We can actually get more grounded and increase our personal vibration just by stepping outside. So there are a whole bunch of things that we can do to increase our personal vibration, but the magic comes when the idea and moving from the idea into the creation of right here and now gets faster. When we have a thought, opposed to just making our body, okay, well, I hope that I can sit in meditation today and I hope I can increase my frequency, and little by little by little, I'll hopefully get there. It has to be consistent, and it and it has to be a decision. It really has to be uh, almost an attachment to, a commitment to, I want to be like this, and then your body starts getting on board. And that's neurology. That's not necessarily energetics, but neurology is kind of an extension of energetics. That being said, um, basically the magic comes from knowing how to call the things in, knowing the consistent pieces to then increase your vibration, and then basically making a decision to guide the chemistry almost within your body to function with the higher vibration things out there that you want to call into your experience. For example, I have decided that I am going to regrow my hair without all this super fun gray. And I decided that I wanted to have my kids' school paid for. And I decided I want to win the lottery. So those are all pretty high frequency things, at least getting two girls going to college paid for and um, winning the lottery. Those are pretty high vibrational things. But I decided that I want my personal chemistry, my personal frequency to increase so that to the extent that it can start connecting with those specific things. I have chosen to be very specific. And with that, that's what shortens the amount of time between the idea and the bringing it into the reality, the creating the matter to make it actually happen. And I can tell you, two of those three things that I'm choosing for myself as my next things to have in my bubble, two of those things I've already accomplished. So that's exciting. And it's simply from deciding where I want the energetics within my body to go, how I want them to play with everything out here. And then real quick, the idea of emotions and energetics. Emotions, each emotion has a range, a frequency range. So when your body is functioning at a particular frequency, it is within a particular emotional range. So love is the median measurement for the frequency of love is 528 hertz. You've got other ones. 428 is a pretty good one. That's calming. Um, I don't know all of the frequency ranges for all of the types of emotions, but think about the idea that love is actually one of the highest emotions that we can feel into. And so anything less than just pure love is going to be a slightly lower vibration. And we want our vibration to be high. So that's why we use things like sometimes you'll meet with energetic practitioners who use stones because that has a frequency. And maybe those stones increase because you're holding them, they increase the frequency and start shifting the functioning of your system simply because you're choosing to move your system into a higher emotional state. And then from that higher frequency and higher emotional state, then your body can function better and you can continue to increase your vibration. Same with essential oils. I use essential oils in my coaching. I use essential oils for myself, for my family. Same thing. Oils are chemistry because they're a solid thing. They're basically the immune system of a plant. We already know from humans that our immune system is just all chemistry. It's all hormones, and each hormone has a different vibration. So the idea that essential oils, when we add them to our body, can kind of adjust and help our systems play with moving into a specific emotional range or a specific frequency range that is associated with a specific emotion, that to me is exciting. And the reason is because that means that we are the creators of whatever we experience simply with our conscious decisions, with our conscious, consistent practices, with just wanting to be clear and connected and flowing and bring higher vibrational things in. That's where the excitement comes in. We are the doers. We are the creators of magic. We are the makers of magic simply because we understand the foundational vibrational base of energetics and how to harness it and use it. So there's a lot of bleh, I feel like from my part in there. If you have any questions, please feel free to throw it out there. If I don't know the answer, I will find the answer and we will continue to play with the idea of chemistry and vibrations and frequencies and waves and all of the fun things. But truthfully, I believe that this is the most exciting and the most fun piece to work with in terms of making your own magic, because it's just simply a reminder that we are actually not in control, but we are in control of how we get to have a relationship with the energy around us. So there's my explainable magic for you today. Basis of energetics. Energetics is the basis of magic over here in Make Your Own Magic Coaching. And I pretty much believe in general. And again, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, go out and use your frequency today. Use your vibration. See how you can shift in and out of different emotions. See how maybe you notice different things. Say you're going to the grocery store, you notice different vibes from people when you move around them. Start to notice, start to observe, start to just, without judgment, start to just notice sensations that come up in your body in different situations, in different rooms, in different spaces, etc. That's a fun way to play with. How can I play with this moving forward? So I love you all. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.